What's up, party people? It's Dan, your basic guitar superstar. Today we're going to talk about this amp right over here that you guys see on the channel. Normally, let me tilt the camera a little bit. Puritan Model 1 hand-wired amplifier. The reason I wanted to talk about this guy is I told Israel Malachi, who is the proprietor and builder of these, that I would do a full review of the amp at some point. I've had it for a couple months now and figured I'd do a deep dive on it. Here are the specs. You guys have heard this plenty on the channel. Just go look for a video that has this and the picture of it, and it's probably used on there. So here are the specs on it. I wrote them down. I apologize for not having them memorized, but there's a lot. So this is a Puritan Model 1 hand-wired amplifier. 15-watt all-tube hand-wired amp with 25-watt AlNico speaker built in. The speakers are Voice of Rock Midwest speakers. I think they're made in Minneapolis, if I remember it correctly. If not, I will post an errata at some point. Preamp tubes, it's got a 12AX7 and a 12AY5 in it. Then power amp tubes, two 6V6s, and then a 5Y3 rectifier tube in it. And yeah, this thing packs quite a nice punch. Got some good versatility. If you guys want to join me up here on the camera for it, over here for you guys. So it's a 2-channel amp. You have your normal and your bright, and then it's got 2 inputs each. I'm not sure why you would ever use 4 of them, but it's got a volume, 2 volume knobs and a tone knob. The tone obviously controls the tone for either one. Little bit of a fuse here. It looks like a 2 amp standby, which is nice, and then an on and off switch. Maybe I'll show you what the back looks like in a couple different pictures. But this amp's got some good versatility to it, so I wanted to do a video about it and kind of show that for you guys. I will say the bright channel on this does sound pretty bright. The normal channel has some nice gain. Once you hit, I think it's about 7 or 8 on the tone knob and about 8 or 9 on the volume knob. We're going to push it a little bit and kind of show you guys what that sounds like. Got some really nice gain properties. This could be used for pretty much any blues or rock application. I'll talk to you about all the pros and cons in the outro of this video, because there are a few cons with it that I need to point out. These retail at $1,499 on PuritanHandwiredAmplifiers.com. I will post a link to that in the description where you can find these, as well as the couple other videos that exist where somebody is playing through one of these. There's not very many. I think there may be 2 or 3, but I'll post them for you, or at least one of them anyway. For Drive today, to show you how this takes gain, we're going to be using the Super B from Danny Kreider over at Noise Pollution Pedals, one of my favorite overdrives. Possibly using the KOing boost from Chris Ray over at Chris Ray Premium Effects, not sure yet. As always, we will have the Siren Pedals anvil plugged in the background for compression, so that the guitar tone does not sound like a giant wall of gobbledygook on your end after I edit. So anyway, give me a second to get everything plugged in and hooked up. We're going to be using my Squier 2021 Paranormal Series Tornado that I have put this new pickguard on as the guitar for this video. Possibly a Strat style guitar too, but I think this does really well with humbuckers, so I wanted to show it off with that first. But anyway, give me a second to get everything hooked up and plugged in, and then we will bring you back, show you how it sounds. As always, if you have not hit the like and subscribe button yet, please do so. But yeah, give me a second and I'll bring you right back. Alright, party people, we're back. We have the Squier Paranormal Series Tornado hooked up. Have the Siren Pedals anvil plugged in and turned on in the background for compression. Got the amp turned on. All the settings for channel 1 are at 3, and I'll go through both the channels for you and kind of show you the difference. Let's get started. Like I said, volume and tone both at 3 o'clock right now for the amp. Let's start turning the volume up a bit on this guy. Tone still at 3. So volume's at about 6 or 7 right now. That's where it really starts to break up. So let's do the tone at about 5 here. Try that. Okay, keep turning the tone up. Now, for those of you watching, I consider this the sweet spot on this amp. So what I have it set to right now is the volume on this channel at about 5, the tone right smack dab in the middle of 8, 9. Anyway, you guys get the idea. Let's do... I'm going to shut off... I'm going to put it on standby and go to the bright channel, quote unquote. Then we'll kind of do the same thing, and then we'll go back through. And actually, you know what? I'm going to stay on this channel for now. Turn the tone down a little bit. And then we will go and do the... I'll edit that out. Okay, sorry guys, so that was what it sounded like with the tone turned most of the way up. I won't do the bright channel yet. We're going to go back, dial the knobs back a little bit, tone to about 3, and turn the gate on. I have the Super B set to gain just a skosh past noon, tone at around 2, volume at 11. So let's give you an idea how this does with Overdrive. So that should give you an idea. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go. I'm going to put it in standby now and go over to the bright channel. Show you the difference between those two. Both the knobs are going to be volume and tone, both at 3. Now let's turn the tone up to about 5. Same thing with volume. I don't understand about this, when I was at NAMM and I watched a demo for this, Israel Malachi, who's the guy that builds these, was doing the demo with a Telecaster, and they sound great with single coils, but I really think they shine with humbuckers. These amps do. So that's what we're doing right now. I got the tone knobs dimed on these. We're on actually the bridge pickup right now. Let's turn the tone up a little bit, see where we could get. Now, if you guys notice on the bright channel that the treble and mids have definitely been turned up a lot, but you're getting that better breakup earlier on that. So like on the volume, I only have that turned about 4. However, the tone I have between 6 and 7. And even if we dial it back to like 4 or 5 range, like I just did there, I'm still getting a lot of breakup, a lot of that nice natural crunch that I absolutely love with amps. So give me a second to get unplugged. That should give you guys a pretty good idea what this thing sounds like. Oh, you know what? We have not done crunch on the bright channel yet, so let's do that. I'm going to turn this down just a skosh so I don't blow your eardrums out. So even on heavier distortion, that acts a lot meatier and a lot crunchier on the bright channel than it does on the other one. Anyway, give me a second to get unplugged, and I will bring you back and give you the pros and cons on this amp and my final thoughts as well. All right, party people, we're back. That was the Puritan Model 1 from Puritan Handwired Amplifiers. Hopefully you guys got a pretty good idea of what that sounds like. I know I've used it on the channel a whole bunch, and I wanted to talk through it because this is a really wonderful amp. I was kind of looking for a higher-end boutique tube amp. Obviously, I have the Trainer YCV40, which I absolutely love. It's still, I still use it frequently on the channel. If I ever play gigs, that will be my main gig amp just because of how loud it is. But anyway, I wanted to have a nice tube amp as well. Fell in love with this one at Summer NAMM when I heard it, and Israel made me a deal I couldn't refuse on it. So brought it home with me so he didn't have to take it on the plane with him back to Duluth from Nashville, where he's from. But anyway, let's talk about it for a little bit. So you got 2 channels on it again. You got your normal and your bright. I think it's labeled normal. Yes, I had to make sure that I wasn't telling you the wrong thing. So normal and bright. Notice on the bright channel how much more treble and mid-rangey it gets. I really love that. I usually use it on the normal setting though, because as you see on the bright setting, it reacts very differently with gain than it does on the normal setting. Now, where this amp absolutely shines is if you're looking for that natural breakup, like that good 70s bluesy rock and roll crunch. This is perfect for that, in my opinion. It absolutely nails that. I don't know if it's the speaker in there or the configuration of how he has the tubes or the way it's wired, but this absolutely nails that as far as getting that natural amp breakup goes. This exact sound is what I was looking for without having to use any pedals, obviously, besides the compressor, but it sounds pretty close without it. And this hits the nail on the head for me, absolutely. The cons with this amp, I'm going to be straight up with you, it does not take some pedals very well. So, for instance, fuzz does not do, some fuzz pedals, this amp is absolutely atrocious with. Others it does really well with. For instance, the ripped speaker from Electro Harmonics, it does not do very well with. I did that video with the Trainer for a reason, and then like the Violent Violet from Chris Ray, it did not do very well with. but like the Fuzz Machina from Calavera Effects, it does fine with. So it really depends on what you're going. There's also some distortion that kind of overload it too. Obviously, the Super B was getting pretty close. Some of the harder distortions, it does good with, others it doesn't. So like, for instance, my signature pedal, the Razor Blade from Noise Pollution Effects, it does fantastic with that. But then like the Black Widow from Chris Ray, it does not do very well with. So it just gets like this jangly, weird, kind of gobbledygookish sound, for lack of a better term. It sounds like a jarbled wall of just, yeah, right? So know that going into this. If you're playing like blues or just straight ahead rock and roll where you don't really use pedals other than maybe like a tube screamer, or you have like distortion on certain songs and you want to use that, this is going to be fantastic for that. Now, if you're playing this live, may or may not be loud enough depending on what the drums and bass are doing. I don't think I would play with a 15 watt amp live unless you mic it. If you mic it, I think it'll do well if you're plugged directly into the PA. I don't think it's going to hurt that. So if you want to do that, great. If you want to use this in tandem with another amp, so like, let's say you want to switch back and forth between, let's say you got two tube amps like this, for instance, and a Trainer YCV40, or like this in a solid state. Like say you have an Orange Super Crush 100 or something. You want to use these in tandem to get different sounds on stage. Mic this one, may not necessarily have to mic the other one. I think it would do really well in that setting as well. I have not tested that because I don't play live in a band setting as a guitarist. I will eventually. I just haven't yet, but I feel like it would do very, very well in that setting. Overall, this is a really great amp if you're looking for a boutique amp and you want to support a local builder who's just an overall good dude and knows what he's doing and loves guitar, loves playing, and is super gracious with fans and people that love his equipment. Go check these out on Puritan Handwired Amplifiers.com. Again, I'll post a link in the description. These retail at $1,499, right on the nose. I got the deal of Century that I'm not going to tell you how much I got it for because then you'll be mad. But yeah, these are fantastic amps. I absolutely love them. I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. It would be a little higher if it played nicer with pedals. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I'm going to give it like an 8.2 or an 8.3 out of 10 because that natural breakup of that speaker, I have not heard something that's that like 70s. Like, it's got, to me, it has a huge like Foreigner, REO Speedwagon, Thin Lizzy type vibe to it. Once you dial in that tone knob to a certain point. So yeah, I'm going to give this an 8.3 out of 10. We'll go with that for now. I'll post that up here for you guys. But anyway, Puritan Handwired Amplifiers Model 1. They're friggin' awesome. Contact Israel Malachi if you want one. Check them out on Facebook. I'll post all their socials down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have fun playing.